Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Age Interrupted podcast. I'm your host, Jill White, functional pharmacist and certified personal trainer. I help women defy aging by learning to put on muscle, by lifting weights, and following a healthful, balanced nutrition plan for life. And today is a day I'm very excited for. It is our first ever We Talk Wednesday, and it's going to be a memorable one because today I am talking about aging and how it relates to the workforce. But I don't want to give too much away before I introduce my guest. We Talk Wednesday is about community and creating a movement of physically and mentally strong women. And DaOnda Combs-Payne has certainly proven to be mentally strong, as you will hear. Welcome, DaOnda. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. I'm so excited for you to be here. I know we just met ourselves. So before we really dive in, I would love to, if you could tell me a little bit more about yourself.
Okay, as you said, my name is DaOnda. My name comes because I was number 11 out of 12, and I tell people my parents ran out of names. So there you go. There were 6 girls and 6 boys. But my name is DaOnda. I am a former CVS Pharmacy manager. Currently, I am still, thank goodness, a practicing pharmacist. I have 2 work-at-home jobs. One I do as a contracting position, and that is MTMs for Medicare patients. So I do speak with them about their medications. I go through their medications with them, check to see for interactions and discuss it. Just have them read their bottles because most of them, believe it or not, are not taking it correctly. They don't even know what it is. So they'll set it aside and they say, I'm not taking it.
Wow.
So I feel like I can make a big impact there. I have the time to do it. The other position I hold, that's my part-time job. I do it 30 hours a week. And then my other one is another work-at-home position for a big company. And it's actually data review, clinical review. So as the prescriptions are typed in, processed, I review them for accuracy. I review them, just the whole ball of wax. And then I check for interactions, the whole thing. That's 40 hours. So between the two, I do 70 hours a week right now.
Wow, 70 hours a week. Now, I know we'll get into it more, but can you explain why that you're working 2 jobs at 70 hours a week right now?
Oh, I'm just getting back on my feet from what happened starting in 2016 with CVS when I ended up losing my job.
Okay. So
I've done a lot of things between then and now. And just now between the 2 jobs, I'm actually making the same amount of money I was making back in 2016.
wow, and it's taking 70 hours a week for you to be able to do that. It's 2016, so that was 8 years ago that you've been having to sit on your story that we're going to talk about.
Absolutely. Yes. And I am married. I've been married for 36 years to the same person. He's been through it all.
Congratulations.
I have, thank you. I have 2 children, but are not really children, but once a parent, always a parent. So I have 2 boys. And as I said, I'm working from home now, which is great. So I guess that affords me the extra time to be able to do those hours because if I look back, I was really spending that kind of time with my one position with CVS, the overtime, the working on things at home, the things that I could do at home at the time for the job. So I don't have to travel to the job. I don't have to travel home from the job. I actually get a lunch break. I get 2 15-minute breaks. That's something unheard of. I get to go to the restroom.
Right. No, yeah, people might think you're kidding, but if they're a pharmacist, they
I'm
know you're
not kidding.
actually telling
I'm
the
going to
truth.
bring that up. That is actually the truth. And I'm going to, yes, I'm put out some things. And I thought, what can I do to bring awareness to what we go through? And one of the things talks about that. I'm going to say what the law actually is here in the state where I am and what will happen, even if you go to the restroom or go out to get your food that you left in your car.
Now, how long did you work for CVS?
Oh, I started out with Revco. Revco was bought out by CVS. In the meantime, I had some other jobs, and my sister and I, she's a pharmacist, we had our own pharmacy for almost 9 years, and we sold that to CVS. So I went back from Revco to CVS, and since they purchased them, it was kind of an acquisition. I went back with all of my time, so I lost no time. So I actually had like 26 years.
Wow. Wow. And I know I read, I haven't been able to read your book yet. We'll talk about that in a moment, but you were a good employee at CVS. Like
Yeah,
you were
actually,
recognized.
yes, I was number 374 out of 7,892 stores.
Wow. I don't know what the percentage is off
It's the
that is.
top 4.5% of the company.
Wow.
So I definitely was not underperforming. It was definitely not about my performance. Even though at the time I was 50, 51 at the time.
Okay. And this was then about 8 years ago. It all happened pretty
Yeah, because
quickly
I
at the
am now
time.
59 and
Okay.
I'm not giving up.
No, ma'am, I can see that. I can see that
I'm
you're a
not.
fighter. So I mentioned your book, like that's what we're really talking about today. So you became an author. Was
Yes.
that something that you had wanted to do in the back of your mind, like as you were working as a pharmacist?
Oh no, I never dreamed of that. That was never even on my bucket list. I never thought of it. Never crossed my mind. Never, never,
So
never.
what made you decide to jump into it?
Oh, I think it was decided for me. I felt like I had to use what was happening to me, knowing how strong I did perform, knowing what they did to try to make it look like it was about performance, because a lot of people lost their jobs. They're still losing their jobs because of performance metrics, and so I feel like I have to use what happened to me because I can justify what I say. I have hard written facts. I have depositions. I have I was smart enough, thank goodness. And I was a pharmacy manager, so I had access to my score, my partner's score, the stores in the district. I had access to that, so I knew what I was performing at. So they could not use that on me. I don't think they realized it because at the time we had a new pharmacy supervisor. So our old one retired. We got a new one from another chain, Rite Aid. That's where I heard he came from. I'm pretty sure that that was accurate. And when he came in, it just like pharmacists were being terminated, and the talk was that was what was happening. They were being terminated, and most of that was because of their performance. So before they were going to get to me, because I knew I was on the older end, was already 50, 51. I thought, I need to start taking care of myself. I need to document myself. They're going to keep a file on me. I need to keep a file on me. And that's what I want everyone to know. Keep a file of your own, your performance, anything you can get a hold of, anything you do well, any of that, because they're keeping it.
Wow. Wow, that's I've never thought of that. If they are
They're
keeping a
keeping it.
file on you, you should keep a file on yourself. That's really important.
Definitely,
Mhm.
definitely, 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 because of my deposition, all my reviews were pulled from the last 4 to 5 years at that time, but I exceeded expectation on all of them. So that didn't work for them.
Oh. So how could they blame it on your performance when your performance showed it was good and exceeded expectations? Because I even know that that's hard to do at CVS.
That's the funny part because that's what they try to claim. You'll see that in the book. You'll see the question I was asked in deposition. You'll see my answer, and you'll see how I backed that answer up. I don't think they thought I had that. I'm almost certain they didn't think I had that. That's
Mm.
what I want other pharmacists to know. You can protect yourself by having those things.
So speaking of the book and things we'll see in the book, how did you come up with the title of your book? Share it with us. And how did you come up with it?
That was the easy part. That was so easy. So CVS has the slogan, they lead with heart. That's so far from the truth. So I thought, no, it should be leading without heart. So that's what I went with, leading without heart. And I chose that heart because that heart is dissipating, and that's what they do to you as an employee. That's what they do. They make you feel like you are, I don't even know the word for it, but I think that that gets the point across. The heart is just
Mhm.
It's not complete.
And in case anyone listening who's not a pharmacist thinks that this doesn't affect them, maybe they just pick up medications from CVS or even probably another chain pharmacy. You worked for CVS. I don't know that this is alone in CVS doing these things. I'm not sure. I know a lot of chain pharmacies can seem very similar, but what would you tell people listening who think, oh, this doesn't really affect me. My employer's good. I just go to the drugstore to pick up my medications.
Does affect everyone. It affects, and that's another thing. It affects not only the pharmacist who is working, it affects the patients. It's dangerous because what they do, the metrics, a lot of those are based in speed. Speed kills. Speed kills in driving. Speed kills when we're filling prescriptions. When you have to get it ready so fast that you're like a robot. You don't catch the misfills. You don't catch the things that are interactions. You don't catch if the doctor put it in wrong. And trust me, they do, and they rely on us to catch that. People don't realize we don't just slap some pills in a bottle and put a label on it. No, there are a lot of things we do. We don't get a chance to counsel. There are so many ways it affects the patient. It's not safe.
Right. No, I agree with you for sure. Absolutely. I always said, as I mentioned to you before, I worked for CVS for a time, and I always said they did as much as possible, as fast as possible, with as few people as possible. Like that was the business model.
Correct.
Yeah.
And it still is today, but it's worse.
Yeah, I can't imagine. I was there in 06 to about 06 to about 08, and then left for a while, and then did part-time only from about 2013 to maybe 2015 when my daughter was an infant. But that was because I was not a manager, right? I could just go in, do my shift and leave. But yeah. So we're talking a lot about it, and I kind of have an idea how it's going to go. What did you find hard about writing the book? How did you make it where maybe it wasn't predictable, like, oh, big corporate giant, bad to employees, right? Like, what's the hook, I guess? Like, how did you get to that?
Right. And again, I didn't start out to write this. I didn't start out to do anything, but just to, I don't know. Like I said, I felt compelled to write about what was happening to me. I was compelled to write about it because almost all the time, if you look it up, you won't find anything bad about CVS. You won't, because they pay what they call non-disclosure. They pay you to not talk. Now, I was offered at one point money to not talk, and I rejected that offer because my freedom to speak and to let people know what really happens is worth more than anything they could really give. It's worth more than anything they could give. I've actually lost a lot, but not really. I've gained more, I think, than I've lost, because what I've lost is just monetary. I've gained so much knowledge, and I think I can help pharmacists by putting this out there. I can help patients to understand. I think I just make it better. I really can. And besides that, it's healing for me to talk about what happened.
Right.
So much, so much. So it's not really, I'm not badgering them at all. I'm not. All I'm doing is putting it out there as it happened, how it happened to me, and it is all backed up. And I let the people decide. What do you think when you read this? What do you think about CVS? Do you really think they're leading with heart? Do you see how they treat their employees? Do you see they're not leading with heart? And the big thing with their CEO right now, mental health. They just had a month we just passed through mental health. You'll see in the book. You'll see how that really stands with them. Where is that with them? Is it really number one? Is it even a consideration?
Right.
I think you'll come to see that it's not. They're not. They're not for the patient. Pharmacists are for the patient. Pharmacists are. They won't let us be. They will not let us do our job. Well, I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, no, it does for sure. And I agree.
They won't let us do our job.
Pharmacists go to pharmacy school to help patients, right? It's just it's the path in medicine. We weren't doctors or nurses, we're pharmacists, and it's the path we chose to help people. But to your point, it's like we have handcuffs on at the job in retail where we can't actually do what we wanted to do, which is help the patient. So yeah, it's very clear. Thank you.
Because if we take the time we want to take with each patient and really make pharmacy what it used to be, and it used to be the most respected, it's no longer. And it's not because of what the pharmacists are doing. It's the atmosphere. It's everything that we have to practice under. And like I say in the book, it's a fear factor. It's like an extortionist. The pharmacists are held under that. And I say that. And it's true.
That's powerful.
They're
It
so
is.
afraid.
It's very sad. I've never thought of it that way. It's true.
And they're so afraid. And you know what? I used to be scared. I'm not anymore. I'm not afraid of them anymore. And I'm sure this will bring backlash, and that's fine, because you know what I'm going to do this time?
What's that?
I will be my own attorney, as I ended up being at one point through this whole thing. I will be my own, or I will have none, because I will be just as well off. But this will bring it to the public. Everyone will see. I will print every single thing that happens. Everything they say to me, everything they send me, everything they do.
So are you still going through legal battles with them at this time, or are you just anticipating what could happen after your book's released?
I actually got as far as I could get for the truth, to be able to put the truth out. There was nothing else I really could do to get that. So now that I'm doing this, I'm sure they won't be happy, because the only way that you can get their attention and have them change what they're doing, change the business model, change and let us work and give us help to do that, is to damage their brand, or let people see through that coat, that veil. Pull the veil back, let them see. And that's what this is about, is just pull. Because I almost named it something like that, but I thought, no, I don't want to do that. I was going to say, behind a corporate veil, something like that, but no, that's going to come out. But that's really what I want to do. I want to pull that veil back. I want people to see, and I just want them to know it's not the pharmacist, and we're held captive. We are held captive, and it's just fear. It's a fear-based model. You could lose your job at any time for anything. And most of the time, and I think we talked about this earlier, the pharmacist is the breadwinner in the family. Regardless if you're
that's something you and I,
you are.
We were talking about that before we went live, was that's how they cause pharmacists just to be fearful of their jobs. People might not be understanding, well, how could a pharmacist be afraid? Like, they could just go get another job. But it's fairly saturated, the market is, with pharmacists. It's not as easy as it once was to find a position. And yes, most of us have possibly up to hundreds of thousands of dollars in student loan debt. So it's literally handcuffs to a job, to be the breadwinner, to pay the student loans, to pay the mortgage, whatever they have going. And so it really does, I think, mentally feel like a prison to a lot of pharmacists today.
I'm glad you brought up mental again, because it's a mental thing. It is mental. It's mental abuse, and I say that in the book. I start out with that. And pretty early in the book, it's mental abuse. And as a matter of fact, in the introduction to lead into the first chapter, I say, let the mental games begin.
Which then it makes it even more ironic that CVS stands for mental health, right?
Exactly, is why I'm bringing that up.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
They don't lead with heart, and they don't stand for mental health. They're not there.
Right.
It's more money, greed, money. And I don't know why we have a CEO of a pharmacy that's not a pharmacist. Why do we do this?
Right.
Why? They don't understand. Why?
What kind of take-home message for your readers when they get a hold of your book, which we'll talk about how they can do that in just a moment? What's the take-home message that you really want to leave with them?
Really want to connect with people, not just as a pharmacist, but as a person, to see how, and it can happen in any workplace, if you are treated the way I was treated. I'm sure many other pharmacists are treated this way. It wears on you mentally. Again, it's mental. It is mental. It is not a good thing. It's mental. And if your pharmacist is not okay, and I say that by mentally okay, you're not going to be able to perform that job. It's dangerous. It is dangerous. We all need to be treated as humans. No matter what job we do, we should be able to connect no matter what. And you'll see the mental abuse in my book. You will see how they did not care that my husband had an eye infection and I needed to be there with him. We were doing around the clock. One eye drop, next hour, another eye drop. And I was being called into the office for something that I was already compliant with, mental head games. Right. Mental. My son, well, I was preparing to take him to Mayo for something. I won't go into all of that because that's a private thing for them. Right. I'll talk about mine all day long. Yeah. They were calling me into the office for that. I was taking my son to get him settled into college. I was on my way back. I was in the Denver airport. I received a text message. You need to make time to come into the office now. You have to come into the office now. For what? I did nothing wrong. Again, it was mental. But everything they were trying to call me in for, I had documentation for. Again, document. I start the book that way. I learned that in pharmacy school from a professor there. Document. If you did not document it, it did not happen. And that is how they see it. Document. So I want them to see that, and anyone, and I never saw myself, having any kind of mental duress, depression, any of that. I don't take any medications because I don't think that that's good for me. I think I can get through this a different way. This is how I'm getting through talking to you, writing the book. I'm going out there. I'm going back for them. I got to be that fighter. I mean, I'm number 11 of 12. I learned how to survive. Right. I learned how to survive, and I will. And I left home for 5 years and worked in 2 states away out of Air Force Base just to get by, to have money coming in. Wow. To take care of my family.
Wow. Like I said, mentally tough. You are, DaOnda,
I worked
for sure.
Monday through Friday. I drove home on the weekends. I drove back.
Wow. Bless your family. Is there anything else as we wrap up? Is there anything else that you would like to leave listeners with today?
Yeah, I want people to know, and I found this out. There are different definitions of when. And I think I'm probably the biggest winner of all. And I'm going to make sure that is, I'm going to take that to pharmacists. I want pharmacists to win. I want them to win. So, you got to define what win is to you. And it's not money. Right. It is not money. It isn't. It's way more than money. You can't buy it.
So good.
Win.
So how can we learn more or support you and your mission?
Oh, that's a good one. So I already have my book available. It is available on Amazon. You can get it through Amazon Books. It's available in ebook and a hardcover. And it's out there, but we're really going to do an official launch, and that's on the 28th. So if anybody wants to help, the 28th is the day to buy. And then hopefully some people will do reviews, just a short review. How did it affect you? Did it open your eyes? Does it make you more aware of what's going on out there? What are pharmacists under? And not just pharmacists, any workplace that it's treated like that. Mentally, how can we all help each other? It's just that kind of thing. So yeah, February was about the 28th. It gives me more credibility. I can stand out in the market. They can't make it go away. Just like the stories when you hear every day in the news, they go away in a day or two. They make them go away. I don't want it to go away. I want it to be fixed.
Right. They just want it to go away. Rushing under the rug. Yeah. That's not, it doesn't fix anything. So Friday, February. I don't know where February just came from. Friday, June 28th, this coming Friday, Amazon, leave a review also. And so I just want to thank you so much, DaOnda, for being here, for sharing your story, for being so brave through all of these years for us, for everyone, for the patients, for other pharmacists. I so much appreciate it. And I just want to remind everyone else that's listening, if they would like to learn more about working with me, you can send me an email at jillwhitecoaching@gmail.com. And you can find me on Facebook and YouTube at Age Interrupted, and also on Instagram at Age age_interrupted. And my mission is to bring women together and to make us physically and mentally strong. And I love our community that we're growing in. DaOnda, thank you so much again for being here. And I will see you all next time. But remember to enjoy the process because it's a lifelong journey. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Thank you.